Hello everybody and welcome along to a brand new episode of the Supercup show here on SimNews.TV, where we take a look at the goings on of the GPVWC Supercup and talk about what just happened in the previous race. So Supercup, of course, the second rung on the GPVWC career ladder. It's above Formula Challenge, it's below Super League, and if you're going to find Super League talent of tomorrow, you're going to do it here because it really is the feeder series to the top flight Formula series here at the GPVWC. I'm Josh Anderson. As ever, I'll be taking you through the action and talking about what happened when we went to Monaco, which was the previous round of the Super Cup. And of course, I'm not alone, and I am joined once again by the head of the Disciplinary Committee for Super Cup, Sam Jones.
Yeah, hello Josh, hello guys, good to be back once again.
Pleasure to have you back with us, Sam. So, Monaco, the jewel in the crown of the calendar, really is the one that everyone wants to win, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This is certainly the race that everyone really goes for. And to be honest with you, it's got to be the hardest race on the whole calendar. Absolutely anything can happen, especially if you qualify further down the field. So really is critical to get it right from the very beginning. And that's why I think a lot of guys are really put in the hours to get on top of this very, very difficult racetrack.
Yeah, it just is an endless barrage of turns and corners, and it does not let up. So qualifying around here, absolutely crucial, as you rightly say, Sam, which means that a certain Jeffrey Fournier would be very happy with the fact that he got pole position for Epic Racing. He did a 1 minute 15.791 to take pole, having done 12 laps to get it. And it was a really, really, really tight qualifying session. That seems to be the norm in Super Cup, because Alex Siebel in second place was 6/100ths of a second behind. Now, with a track as complicated at Monaco, that's some achievement.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely close between the two, and while Siebel, you'd expect him definitely to be right at the sharp end, considering how well he's done so far this year. But Fournier, who's always been around the top 5 and top 10 for sure, he certainly just put out an incredible lap to get it, just pinch it, and it may not be a long lap, but it certainly is one that you can lose them at any point and at any corner.
Yeah, you can just go terribly wrong at Monaco at any time, and well, Wubke Hoekstra might not actually be happy with third in a scenario like this, because it's Monaco. You know, being on the second row at Monaco, you're probably thinking, oh God, there's 2 people ahead of us. This is going to go terrible already, because I'm not going to be able to get past anyone into turn 1. But Monaco, you know, it giveth and it taketh away. It's one of those tracks where if you're not on it 100%, it can go terribly wrong. So third, in all honesty, for Hoekstra would not have been a bad result, especially considering Dennis Jordan was right behind in 4th place. Only, again, 3 tenths off Fournier's time, so super close qualifying.
Yeah, it was again super close, and absolutely Hoekstra was definitely the closest to the front 2 out of anybody else. There was certainly a bit of a gap between himself and Jordan, but Jordan doing a very good job there as well to get onto the second row. And while it's not too bad being back there, but certainly getting into the danger zone now.
Yeah, this is where it starts getting problematic for people around the 5th or 6th area around Monaco, which is where Dino Paolini and Jason Muscat qualified. Then row 4 was Antonio Holanovic and Boya Milan. So, you know, this sort of area is where you start thinking, right, maybe pace myself at the start. Then it was Edgar Ruiz in 9th, and then Dawe Taba rounding out the top 10. So again, not really any surprises in the top 10, is there really, Sam? Because, you know, these are the guys who we expect to be at the front.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Again, it was a case of driver more than anything else that really kind of was able to break through here. It was the guys that you expected to be up there. There's a few guys missing, but I'm sure you'll probably get to that in a bit. That was due to some penalties that were, of course, handed out. So apart from that, everyone else that was up there, we expected really to be in that top 10 grid positions.
Yeah, so again, not really any surprises in the top 10 in terms of outright pace. Obviously, penalties would change that, you know, as drivers get them. But, you know, in terms of actual outright qualifying position, we're not really surprised by the top 10. Then we come to 11th place, and this Mike Quinn. Now, he drove this round for Cosmo Psyche, which is a new team for him. He didn't drive for them last round, obviously being picked up by them for this round at Monaco. And 11th place for Mike, very, very good. We know we've always seen from Formula Challenge that Mike's very good, but to see him at 11th in the Super Cup is definitely promising.
Yeah, did a really good job considering where Cosmo had been this season, and also, you know, how Quintus, he didn't finish either of the races back in Austria as well. So confidence wouldn't have been too high for him at the time, but certainly he was still just kind of getting into things in Super Cup. So to pick up a position like that at a track like Monaco as well, that was great for him and great for the team as well. I'm sure they were all very pleased with his efforts. And that was just the case of what could he do from there, really, because that's a great place to start. Inside the points, definitely inside that place where he could potentially get a reverse grid for the start of race 2 as well, but of course that's way in the future. But he would have been thinking about that at the time, that at least he'd done half the job at that point come the end of qualifying.
He'll certainly be impressed by 11th, of course, and up from his 14th at Austria, so there's improvement there as well. Then 12th place, you've got Edouard Batala in the RTS car. So, another good result from Edouard. Definitely showing his skill here. Then Sandeep Choudhury in 13th. And then a returning Tom van der Voort in 14th place for Zurich Racing, of course. Tom van der Voort, a Super League stalwart. But, to see him in Supercup, even just to see him back in GPVWC, shows this year we're really bringing back the names like Ryan Walker, Tom van der Voort, Lee Morris into the career ladder. It's great to see them back.
Yeah, it's great. We haven't seen Tom van der Voort for about half a season or so now. He only did part-time last year in Supercup, and then obviously moved on up to Super League as well. He's done a lot in there. So it was good to see him back here today. This week, of course, I should say. That's not that good. It was good to see him back here this week for the team, and it wasn't the best qualifying for him, but of course, only just getting back into the run of things when everyone else had quite a few races head start. I'm sure Tom would have been pleased with what he did, at least in qualifying.
Yeah, I'll be very happy with that. He's come back to the GPVWC, 14th place, still very respectable, all things considered, even though he'll probably want it a bit more. Carlos Fernandez was 15th in the Multiforce, so, a good result for him, slightly maybe down on what he was used to in Formula Challenge, but still very respectable nonetheless in his first Supercup season. And then Gerard Batala in 16th place, so the second of the brothers Batala there as well. Then the two satellite cars of Matt Strand in 17th and a debuting Erhan Jajovski in 18th place. Now, Jajovski, I know from endurance racing, and I know for certain that the Macedonian is probably going to have wanted considerably more than 18th place, maybe struggling a bit around Monaco in these open wheel cars.
Yeah, certainly not really the place to kind of get started in GPVWC, going straight into a race at Monaco and did such a competitive league like Supercup. So we can easily let him off for that. But nonetheless, I'm sure he'll definitely be looking to do a bit better. But of course, he's got a good part of the season now to really kind of get to grips with the league this year. We could see him certainly improve. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Interestingly enough, I think he's the first ever Macedonian we've had in the league. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it certainly looks that way. The country, of course, only got about a couple million people, so it's good to see another country represented, just to make this league a little bit more diverse as well.
Yeah, we'll come to diversity in a bit, actually, because there's another bit of a unique nationality going on in the Supercup, actually. But, yeah, Stefan Rualt, 19th for Deltec. So, again, for Rualt, quite a disappointing qualifying. Maybe just sometimes in places finding it difficult to grab the grips with Supercup. But obviously he has had some good results this season, as we've seen. So, it seems to just be a consistency thing with Stefan. Some days he's good, some days it's not so good. Maybe just a bad day in the office in terms of qualifying for Stefan. But yeah, not quite going his way perhaps in Supercup at the moment. Then Rob Mason, 20th in the Epic Racing. Again, another solid, if not quick, qualifying from Mason. Then Johan Lindberg with a surprise reserve drive for Deltec in 21st place. And we touched on nationalities. The Madagascan, Thomas Andrea Maharisoa, 22nd and last driving for Cosmo as well. So bringing Thomas up from his second in Formula Challenge into Supercup, giving him a bit extra playtime at Monaco.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed there, Josh. That was a really good attempt. I don't want to try to attempt that last name, but Thomas, yeah, another new name, another new country. That's brilliant to see as well. So he might have come last in qualifying, but like I said before, it's such a difficult track, and to kind of come into this as in your first time, very difficult stuff. So hats off to him for trying, and I hope that we'll see him further on in the season as well. I'm sure he's going to be another driver that can improve as the season goes on.
Yeah, obviously two new nationalities as well being represented, Madagascar and Macedonia. So, really just show the diversity we've got in the league these days.
Yeah, it really does. It's just drawing everyone in, and that kind of shows the appeal. We get these broadcasts out, and I'm sure this podcast certainly helping as well, just to give people from different leagues and just people in general that have an interest in motorsport to find the league, and that's really important stuff. And I think we're certainly seeing the benefits of that here in Monaco with these new names and new countries.
Yeah, I think we certainly are seeing the benefit of it. So, on to the race, and a big, obviously, first race at Monaco. You know, one everyone wants to win. 45 laps around the circuit, almost an hour's worth of racing in race one. It was difficult, it was taxing, and there was big climbers in this race, as is the nature of Monaco. But the first thing we're going to touch on, before we actually get the results, is the attrition rate. We started with 26 cars, and only 15 were classified. Only the people in the points were classified, and even then, 2 of them didn't finish, but still made enough of the race for classification. So it just shows how difficult Monaco is.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised about this one at all. It's so difficult to get around a track like Monaco, and the race is an hour long as well. Let's not forget that, an hour long, 45 laps. That's a lot of time to have maximum concentration, because you have to concentrate here more than anywhere else, I feel. And so, to be fair, I don't have anything to say about any of the guys that didn't finish. It's just bad luck, or just difficult circumstances. But fair play to the ones that did as well. All these drivers, I'm sure, really put in their best to try and do as good as they could. So very difficult stuff.
Yeah, difficult track, Monaco, but the winner coming out of it was Jeffrey Fournier for Epic Racing, and he obviously started on pole. He stayed pole, he defended it perfectly. So, Fournier, after his win last time out at Austria, I think he must just be finding a bit of form now.
Yeah, he really did, didn't he? After just kind of switching it on in Austria, and then this week in Monaco, he's just managed to pull out another pole and get this race win in the first race as well. It might be easy to start from the front, but it's not easy to hold on to it, especially with all the pressure that's going to be applied from behind. The pit stop as well that you have to make in Supercup. So Fournier has done an excellent job to pick up another win, and his confidence must be sky high at the moment.
Yeah, he must be a very confident Frenchman, that's much for sure, and 25 points for him with that win, of course. In second place, though, was Dino Paolini in the Measuric. So, Paolini we've seen before. Definitely were threatened Supercup, showing that today. And then third place, up 19 places from where we'd start, Mike Quinn from 22nd on the grid to third. Now, if that's not an achievement at Monaco, I don't know what is, Sam.
Yeah, brilliant stuff by Quinn. Of course, he had the penalty, which meant he had to start that far back, which was looming over him from Austria. So to shake that off, worst place in the world to get a penalty really for for the race after qualifying, Quinn did an excellent job there. And to go that far up the field is truly impressive stuff. I remember the race against him in Formula Challenge, and he was good around Monaco before. A bit unlucky, he got in a few instance, but certainly showed his skill here in Monaco.
Yeah, no, I think if this isn't a case for Mike Quinn to be picked up more long-term either by Cosmo or another team, I don't think anything is. He's really just shown how good he is in Supercup, and I think there was a lot of support for him after that race. And Sandeep Chowdhury as well, another big climber from 12th to 4th as well. So the Indian finding form here at Monaco as well for Hinds Motorsports. And it was Dennis Jordan in 5th for Evolution, and then Wupke Hoekstra right behind him in 6th place. Wupke actually dropping 3 places and having to pit twice. So maybe that had something to do with it. But then again, Fournier pitted twice as well. But he went on to win the race. So maybe just not Wupke's race.
Yeah, after such a good run over the last couple of rounds as well, he's picked up quite a few podiums recently, been on strong form. Maybe just not quite the track for him. Perhaps the struggles with a track that's a bit slower, a bit more tight and twisty, and not quite as flowing. But still, a good points to the board for him, which will certainly help him out as he's still fairly high up in the championship as well.
He is still fairly high up in the championship, and that's what's going to matter in the long term. And Wupke will know that, and that might have reassured him a bit after his slightly disappointing race 1 drop position. Boyan Milan was 7th for TG Racing, and then Tobias Politek 8th for Evolution. So good result for Evolution, 5th and 8th. And then the two Zederick cars, Daway Tapper and Jason Muscat, 9th and 10th. Muscat, the first of the cars that was a lap down as well. And for the Maltese, he dropped 4 places. So that's not going to be good for him. Though Politek, from 25th, obviously taking a penalty, jumped up 17 places. So almost as many as Quint.
Yeah, great result for him. Again, another victim of getting it wrong in qualifying in Austria and having to take that penalty. But nonetheless, it was another good result and another good climb through the field. He even stayed on the lead lap as well, which is not difficult to do around Monaco, being such a short lap as it is. So I'm sure he's very pleased with that, and just continuing to show a bit more consistency and a bit more level-headedness now in the league after having a few troubles, especially last year with quite a few retirements. He seems to have sorted that one out.
Yeah, he does seem to have got that sorted out, and that's great to see because, retiring from races isn't going to get you any points, but, getting that sorted has really helped him out here. And then, obviously, Tapper 9th, Muscat 10th. Matt Strand was 11th ultimately in the Satellites in P11, so 5 points for him. Then Stefan Rualt and Johan Lindberg are the two Deltex 12 and 13. Neither actually made the race, though. The end of the race, though. Neither actually made the end of the race, though. Stefan Rualt dramatically bursting into flames as he came up out to Sandevot on the second to last lap. And Johan Lindberg presumably crashing out of the race because it was listed as suspension difficulty. So neither Deltec made the end of the race, but still classified in 12th and 13th. And it just goes to show you got to keep your concentration all the time at Monaco, otherwise you will manage to retire from the race.
Yeah, really difficult stuff. Interesting as well to see an engine blow that late on, and it's not something that we usually see in Supercup either, so I don't know whether there was any issues with double downshifting or whether just got the cooling wrong and just had it a few laps away from being perfect, and that'll be a bit of a disappointment, especially for Rat, who was so high up the order at the time, just still on the lead lap as well, but ultimately lost positions because of that.
Yeah, lost some positions because of it. Ruot was 6th going onto the lap where he blew his engine, and Lindberg was 2 laps down on Ruot, I believe, but still did okay. And Stefan really did lose out as a result of that, but still nothing ventured, nothing gained. He did try his hardest, and he showed he was up there potentially for 6th, though, bad luck just striking the Dutchman, unfortunately. Mark Waller was 14th for ST Racing, and then Rob Mason rounding out the point scorers and the finishers, as it would turn out, in 15th place. So, final 2 scoring points there for Mason, a good point and 2 good points for Waller. Still going well there for ST and Epic, and then, of course, all of the retirements from the race, which were Edward Batala, Tom van der Voort, Antonio Hranovic, Wesley Stefano, Thomas Andriami Harisoa, Alex Siebel, Edgar Ruiz, Dom Foster, Gerard Batala, Carlos Fernandez, and Han Jajovski. So Jajovski, retiring from his first race in the GPVWC after not even 1 lap. Batala, Fernandez, and Jajovski all got involved in the first lap.
Yeah, and it's not really a surprise, is it? Especially with such a packed field of 26 cars, to see a few go out the first lap. It doesn't take much to cause a bit of a pile-up, and there's always a bit of carnage going on at the start of any kind of Monaco race. So unfortunate for those 3 and a couple of the others as well that retired early on. But of course, they still had race 2 to try and pull it back, and that was the main thing of just getting it in their heads that they still had another chance not to give up on the night.
Siebel especially will be annoyed because he only managed 8 laps, and then from 2nd place he must have crashed or something because actually
disconnection.
Was it suspension?
Yeah, if you want to say disconnection, yeah.
Oh, did he disconnect? All right.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Alex Siebel especially will be quite annoyed because he managed 8 laps and he was in 2nd place, but then he disconnected from the server. So it was going well for him. Then he went, and nothing really could be done about that.
No, it couldn't. It was a real disappointment for him. He was challenging Fournier. They were so close together at the time, and that was going to be an epic battle through the race as well. So a bit of a costly one for the spectators as well. Anyone that was watching the stream missed out on what I think would have been an absolutely epic battle in race 1 there. We hadn't even made it to pit stops at that time either. That was hurtful as well for Siebel's championship because he was right up there before that round, and that was some costly points that he lost through no fault of his own, really.
Yeah, crucial points dropped by Siebel in this round through no fault of his own. That's going to hurt his championship chances. But, you'd think he'll bounce back from that, him being Alex Siebel and being good as he is, And Whoopie Hoaxer took the fastest lap of the race, though, 1:16.890, again, just showing how good he is. And, well, here's an interesting little tidbit for you. This was actually the fastest first race in Supercup at Monaco in history. The fastest ever feature race at Monaco in 59:16.002 by Fournier, beating the previous record of 59.25.546 by Ruud Histerbeek in 2015. And the championship form Histerbeek was in That's saying something.
Yeah, that was really impressive. And of course, last year as well, Lars Brugman, who won this race, and he would go on to win the championship as well. So it shows the caliber of drivers that have performed here in the past. And for Fournier, that was impressive stuff because, well, he didn't have someone directly behind him at the end, so he could have easily just backed off. But certainly just kept his foot in it, and just shows that it wasn't by luck or by the fact that he was the best of the drivers in the field that day. He was just there really on his game, and it just shows the quality of the field that we've got in Supercup this year as well.
Yeah, it really does. And if race 1 was going to be good, race 2 was always going to be better, and especially so for none other than our favourite Frenchman, Geoffrey Fournier, because he took the second race win as well. It was done in 32 minutes and 47 seconds, and it means that he took the qualifying, he took race 1, he took race 2, he took the fastest lap in race 2 with a 1:16.968. You really can't say that he's not had the best Monaco possible.
Yeah, that was incredible stuff by Fournier. He got a bit of luck because, of course, he was starting seventh after the reverse grid got sorted out. The name came out of the hat, and he was moved back to seventh place. But still, that was 6 drivers that he had to pass, and anything could have gone wrong in that time. It was only a 26-lap race as well, nearly half distance compared to the first race. So he had to be on his game. To pull off an achievement like that, that's great stuff. It was the first double winner that we've had since Lars Brugman last year in Hungary. It's been a long time we've had a double winner in Supercup, and it was only done once last year. So we'll see if anyone else could do it this year. But so far, for me, Fournier has been incredible over the last 2 rounds. Really, really impressed me now.
Yeah, Fournier really starting to kick it up again, really starting to solidify his chances as a championship contender as well. Though hot in his heels as Boy Milan, just 6 seconds behind, dropped 1 place from first to second, still picking up 20 points though, which will be very important for him. Then it was Dennis Jordan in the Evolution and Dawi Tapper in the Zederick car in fourth. So Tapper again, good race from him, really cementing his credentials as well as Dawi.
Yeah, really good. Really good for the both of them, and well, from where they started on the grid as well, especially for Tapper, he managed to just pick up quite a few places. So it was more an impressive second race for him. I'm sure he probably hoped for a little bit more in the first race, but to get into the top 5 in the second race was really good. All these drivers that finished well in race 2, they really did impress me, especially how short the race distance is. So good effort by all of them.
Yeah, very, very good effort indeed by everyone. And, well, Stefan Ruhl will be a little bit happy with his 5th place after exploding in the first race. He did manage to get his top 5 in the second race, and getting that for Deltec will, be a slight consolation to his race 1 loss, but it won't really make up for it, I guess. And Dino Paolini 6th in the Measuric as well, so, retaining his place from the start line. Then Carlos Fernandez up 14 places from 21st to 7th. Very good climb from the Spaniard, and again, showing glimpses of his Formula Challenge form.
Yeah, really good by Fernandez. He struggled a little bit this season, hasn't picked up a top 10 until now. So to pull that one out of the bag and from a lowly position as well, that was really a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, like you said, he's had quite good form in the past, and he was certainly deserving of a good result at some point, and he's finally got it. And I just hope now that it'll give him a bit more confidence and he'll be able to push on.
Look what it did for Geoffrey Fournier. I mean, wonder what it could do for Carlos Fernandez. Yes. Jason Muscat, though, was 8th in the Zederick, and then it was Rob Mason, 9th for Epic Racing. A fantastic result for Rob, getting a top 10 in Supercup. Then Sandeep Chota rounding out the top 10 in the Hinds car. So, for Mason especially, that is going to be a real confidence booster. He's going to feel really happy with that. And Chota will be pleased with 10th as well. Then it was Mike Quint, 11th in the Cosmo. So not quite the dizzy heights of race 1, but still a respectable result for the Dutchman. And then Mark Fuller, again, 12th in the ST. So Fuller again, one of the drivers who's possibly stood out a bit at Monaco.
Yeah, really good result for Fuller, of course. He scored points in the first race, and now in the second race as well, he managed to score points. It's the first time he's got a double points finish this year. So I'm sure he's very, very pleased with himself today, picking up a result like that. Oh, sorry. I'm sure he's very, very pleased with a result like that at this round, and I'm sure that now maybe that gives him a bit of confidence as well. He was only 1 lap down, and to finish behind like the likes of Quint, who did so well in that first race, he just looked like he kept his nose clean and just got on with the job. And I'm sure he was very pleased with his 2 results for Monaco.
Yeah, I'll be very pleased with that. You know, getting 2 point scores in a season where he's only ever had one before will be very pleasing for Mark Fuller. And then, obviously, Anatoly Helanovic, 13th in the Drake car. Then Thomas Andriami Harisoa, 14th in the Cosmos. So points for him in winning his second Super Cup race. Definitely starting to make a name for himself, Andriami Harisoa here.
Yeah, really good for him then, of course, because he didn't get any points in the first race, but to turn it around in the second race, really good effort. And I'm sure he'll be very pleased with what he managed to do, just to finish the race more than anything. I'm sure that was the aim for him at that round. And to get points as well is definitely a bonus. So we'll see what he could do in the next round on a more normal track, you could say.
Yeah, slightly more normal track in Montreal coming up. And Andrea Miharisoa was the last of the finishers, actually, because Tom Vandervoort in 15th did not complete enough of the race to be classified, so no 1 point awarded. And Matt Strand, Gerard Batala, Tobias Politek, Wupke Hoekstra, Edward Batala, and Johan Lindberg, the non-finishers. Wupke Hoekstra, very surprising non-finish.
Yeah, it really was. Again, another guy that's been doing decent in the championship so far this season. To retire so early on in the race as well, I'm sure he was very gutted about that. And that was big points missed out for him, considering he was starting on the front row as well. I'm sure he was thinking about potentially winning this one, but it wasn't to be. So you have to try and bounce back at the next round.
Yeah, he will do. And, well, the next round's going to be very important for Jeffrey Fournier. Going into Montreal, he will lead the Drivers' Championship. At the time of recording, 166 points his points total, just 6 ahead of Jason Muscat in second place. Then it's a further 13 points to Dino Paolini in third, and then Dennis Jordan tied on points with the German, but Dino's slightly better results in this season, I believe, are going to put him ahead in the standings. He has 3 second places to Jordan's 2. Then Alex Siebel wants the triple race winner in a row, now 5th in the standings on 130 points. And, you know, a slight slip for Siebel, but hopefully he can recover and take the fight to the likes of Fournier and Muscat for the championship still, because, well, it is a bit disappointing to see him fall down the order so soon after 3 straight wins.
Yeah, it was pretty much a missed round for Siebold not to score in either of the 2 races, of course, because he didn't take part in the second race. But nonetheless, he's still been impressive so far this season. Already got 4 wins to his name, and being so close in the championship as it is in the moment, the top 5 are really close together, and any of them could certainly win the championship this year, and even a couple of guys further back as well. So all he has to do is have a good round in Montreal and be right back in the hunt.
Yeah, of course, that's all he needs. And Wupke Hoekstra maybe just needs that as well. 117 points, 13 behind Siebel in 6th place. And then Stefan Ruolt in 7th in the Deltec. Now, I keep saying that he's had a bit of an inconsistent season. He's struggling a bit, but really, with second and 2/3, you know, you look at his results and you think, he's not doing that bad. But again, it's just the consistency, because he's had a 7th, a 2nd, a 5th, then a DNF, then 2/3, then a 14th, and a 9th, and then a 10th and a 12th, obviously, with a 4th place and a 5th. So it's up and down a bit for Stefan. And if he just could find a bit more form and stay constantly in the top 6, he might find his championship standing improves.
Yeah, he's certainly a guy that can pick up the points, as he's proven throughout the season. Just a consistent point scorer, but not consistent finisher. It just seems to be whether it's qualifying he's having an issue with, or just not making the mistakes in the race. It's a little bit different to how he was in Formula Challenge last year, and maybe that's just because he's finding the cars a bit more difficult, or the field a bit more challenging as well. It really is a competitive field, so I think he just needs to get his head down now, maybe do a bit more homework, and just keep it calm in the races as well. And I feel like the results will really start to come to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of by any means of the imagination, though. 115 points. I mean, I'd be extremely pleased with that if I was Stefan, and I would not write him off at all. Write him off at New Peril. I imagine he will have a couple of race wins by the end of this season. It's just a case of finding the form to get them. And then Tobias Politek behind in 8th place on 108 points. And Anatoly Helanovic cracking the century in his own right. 100 points for him in 9th place in the standings, and rounding out the top 10, Boya Milan in 10th with 98 points. So, you know, Helanovic, Milan, you know, 2 drivers who are very capable in their own right. So only 1 non-point score each for them. So it goes to show that, you know, consistency can have its rewards too.
Yeah, it certainly can, and I think that is the key for a league like Supercup, because it is so competitive and there's so many races in the season. Consistency is really where it's at, and we are seeing that the drivers who just managed to finished a few more races than others are the ones that are really being rewarded now, and that could be key as we are starting to get into the more crucial part of the season. We've already had 6 rounds; it's gone so fast, but now we're starting to really see the championship take shape and seeing who the real contenders are.
Yeah, we are really starting to see the real contenders here. And, you got the likes of Darwin Tapper in 11th, Edgar Reith 12th, Matt Strand 13th, Edward Batala 14th, and he's put the Gerard in 15th, down the bottom end of the table. Then we're really getting into the likes of the part-time drivers and drivers that haven't done all of the season. Of course, some of the drivers like Carlos Fernandez and Rob Mason, 19th and 20th. Full season drivers are down their slightly less successful. Mark Fuller's 23rd, for instance. And then you've got, the likes of Andrea Mahariso, the newcomers, in 30th with the 2 points he scored here. But when you look at the team standings, still very, very close run. Metric Racing lead on 264, but they're only 9 points ahead of Evolution on 255. And then it's a 29-point gap to Zederick on 226. Then Epic for further 42 points behind in 4th. And again, just like we said last time, we're getting these sort of mini battles because we've got the top 3 battling, then we got the little groups afterwards.
Yeah, we certainly have. It looked like it was going to be just the top 3, but I'm starting to think now, Josh, maybe we could have a top 4 because after Fournier's performance over the last couple of rounds, Epic are really starting to push up now, so they could potentially get in that scrap for the top 3 positions in the championship. But further back, it certainly is a case that the teams are splitting up into groups. We've got battles towards the end of the field between 3 teams. There's about a 2 to 3 team midfield battle, and there's an upper midfield battle of about 4 to 5 teams as well. So certainly they're branching off, but all very close within their little groups. It really is what makes it exciting this season.
Yeah, it really is what makes it exciting. And, well, obviously, as we say, Epic in 4th place, catching up perhaps to Zederick maybe. But then you look back at TG Racing on 28 points behind on 156 points. Then 6th place is Multiforce GP on 148. Then it's Deltec on 132 in 7th place. Then Drake Racing in 8th place on 102. So that sort of midfield battle shaping up nicely. And then 33 points back is Racing Team Shorten on 69 points. Then Satellite Racing on 59, 10 points back in 10th. Then Hinz Motorsport are 11th on 37th. 12th place is Cosmo Psyche on 28 points in 12th place. And rounding out the field is ST Racing in 18 points. 13th place in the standings. And then crucially then for Cosmo, out of last in the team standings, thanks to the fantastic performances of Mike Quint.
Yeah, huge result, that 3rd place at podium for Cosmo, and Quint there really just kind of leapfrogged ST by quite a bit, and they could have caught Hinz as well had it not been for the fact that, of course, Sandy Choda managed to get 4th place in race 1 as well. So those 2 teams really benefiting from a fantastic round and some stellar surprise results. Means that they are actually starting to put a bit of pressure on Satellite ahead as well.
I think they'll definitely be hoping to keep Quint on for as long as he possibly can, because obviously he has a primary drive in the moment with Scuderia Basileia and Formula Challenge, so perhaps only going to be doing the maximum of 4 races in Supercup. And Quint obviously has himself 2 more in the bank to use, so to speak, so hopefully they'll be able to keep him on.
Yeah, hopefully so. But it's up to him, really. I think now it's going to be, do I want to carry on in Supercup and try and get some more results and just learn my trade here, or does he want to do something else? It's going to be interesting to see. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know what's going to happen at the next round, but that's certainly something I'm going to be looking out for.
For SD Racing, though, being last in the standings now, that's going to hurt because, they are last in the standings, and with Cosmo just promoting, you got to think that, the threat of relegation, if they don't pick it up, is really going to start looming.
Yeah, we did. I think we touched on this a little bit last time, didn't we? But it still seems to be the case that ST Racing just can't quite seem to get the results there. Just kind of build up some momentum and start picking up some good points every single round. It just seems they'll get a couple of points, then they'll have a few barren rounds, and they'll get a few more points. That's not enough in Supercup, and unfortunately for them, they could be facing relegation. But who knows? It really depends on how many teams want to stay at the end of the season as well. Fingers crossed, all of them, because it is a great mix of teams and a great mix of drivers that we've got this year.
Yeah, we have a great teams and drivers mix, and, well, I'm sure that will show itself when we go to Montreal, Canada. next time out in Supercup. That will, of course, be on the 31st of May, so do not miss that. I'm sure that Canada will throw up a fantastic race in its own right, because it is a great circuit, isn't it, Sam?
Oh, brilliant circuit. It's home to some absolutely classic races in the past. Always a chance of variable weather there as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see that one. Really, what I'm looking out for is, can Fournier continue this momentum, because it's impressive momentum at the moment that he's got. Was Monaco a bit of a one-off? Was it a special circuit for him, or is he really going to stamp his authority as the main challenger for the championship this year?
Yeah, of course, Fournier really on a phenomenal run of form at the moment. It's one of really the questions that people are going to be asking, I think, going into Montreal. Will Geoffrey Fournier be able to keep up this sensational form that he seems to have found? And perhaps will Alex Siebel find a way back to winning ways, get some more wins on the board? And who'll be the first to have an altercation with the World Champions? Maybe nobody will. Maybe everybody will. I don't know. But what you do know is that you will not want to miss the Montreal Supercup races. But for now, at least, I've been Josh Anderson, and from me and Sam Jones, we'll be seeing you in 2 weeks' time when we review just exactly what happens when Supercup takes on the Montreal Street Circuit. Goodbye.